I write to you so you know what I have seen, what I have heard, how I was, how I am now. There he stood, the ringmaster of eternity. He took my hand and bowed. His eyes were fierce, his fang-like teeth worse, but his energy was so inviting. As all the other guests ran like spreading wildfire, paying no notice to me and the problems I've written to you about before, he did. He told me about immortality. He told me about his quest to seek it. He told me he was a collector of sorts. Each soul was given willingly and made him more powerful. I would have done the same if he asked right there. What did I need my soul for? But as he was about to ask, as he asked so many before me, he stopped. He sensed something different. He leaned into my ear, this ringmaster of oddities, and said this is a place of fear, and fear will reveal so much. He told me to follow the path he took and chase the fear, and I did.
I saw how fear tore apart a town. I saw how fear-mongering and greed destroyed a land. I saw how strange things overwhelmed people and how evil from beyond threatened to tear a family apart. But as I continued deeper into this park, my screams echoed with others and my laughs did too. We joined each other in our adventure into fear, and together we saw how community found its way together and fought the dark to save their people. And I saw how people rallied in the face of the unknown. And with my new friends, we saw how outcasts and oddities were accepted, were honored, and thrived, each unique and totally special. Like these characters, our souls were now intertwined. As we were leaving, the good doctor found me from his stage, and to inquiring eyes, and I smiled.
I don't run from my fear. I pursue it.
I don't hide from my nightmares. I become them.
The darkness doesn't overwhelm me. I rise to meet it.
Where my soul goes, this I know. It does not go alone.
It is one of the strangest tales ever told. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you.
Welcome to the Dark Fantastic!
I'm not a monster, Jake.
I'll show you who I am and what I am.
Yeah, you love this one. It's a scream, baby.
It's showtime.
I am your mother.
I hate to float.
I don't feel like she's not a mistake at all. Like she's better for being different.
Gender fluid.
No matter what, you keep finding something to fight for.
Hey, Michael!
What's your favorite scary movie?
You want stars? I'll give you stars.
So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now is your chance to, well, we've warned you.
Hello and welcome to Theme Park Workshop Podcast. We have found a way to still talk about Halloween for just a little bit longer. I am Kelly Hoffman, also known as Killer Kells. I have with me today Bella Harvey.
Hello, everyone. I am back to talk about Stranger Things yet again.
And Adam Johnson.
My friends, hello! It's me.
Hello. So, if you listen to our latest episode, we spoke for a very long time about our rankings and our thoughts about the houses and zones of this year. Spoiler alert, if you have not listened to it, it was very positive. We absolutely loved HHN 32. There's a lot to love about that event, and not just what we talked about, which is mostly the zones and the houses. There are a lot of other things to cover. So that's pretty much what we're doing today. What did you guys want to start with?
Well, we do have a special segment to get into. So if you've heard of our Patreon, well, if you haven't, we have a Patreon over at I always do that. I always say our name /Patreon. That's not the truth, Ellen. It's patreon.com/theme park workshop. And we have a new tier, a $20 tier by special request of Jen Harvey. Thank you for joining our Patreon. As part of the $20 tier, Jen Harvey is able to request a segment for every episode. And her requested segment has been, let's talk about the food and the drink we tried at Halloween Horror Nights 32. What was y'all's favorite or what are your general thoughts of the food? Like, when you look at the food as a whole at Halloween Horror Nights, what did your stomach say?
I'm still stuck on that's not the truth, Ellen. We shouldn't just glaze on over that. That was iconic. Well, see, here's the thing. I am a hot girly with stomach issues. So I didn't have a whole lot, but I did get to try a few bites of the walking taco, which was absolutely phenomenal and needs to be at every event at Universal, or even just like a daily like food item for purchase, because it was so good and massive. And then I did get to try the cordyceps corn dog. That was very good. I definitely couldn't have had a whole one. My stomach would have been very mad at me, but it was good. It looked a little weird because, it had like the crispy potato sticks and like that gray mushroom sauce and like different things, but like it was very good. Those are the only two fun things. Oh, I had one of the raviolis, just one, from the Last of Us thing. That was good too. But I mostly just I had pizza fries a couple times. Kelly and I actually rope dropped pizza fries opening weekend. We were the first people to get it in the whole park, which was really funny. And then I had, twisted taters, of course. And then like drinks, I mostly did make the make your own cocktails thing. Rum and Coke or rum and vodka, my go-to. Did the job. It was very tasty, very refreshing. But I did get to try ghoul juice, and it was good. It was pretty okay.
Yeah, I didn't do much drinking, although I did have the spirit free thing from Adam might know the name.
I think it's the spirit free slime.
Yes, that's what it was. See, I said Adam might know the name, and I knew full well that you would know the name of it.
I have a reputation to uphold. What can I say?
Yes, but that was at the Dead Coconut Club, and that was actually delicious because it had like a vanilla flavor, but it was more tart. Like it was mostly like tart, and I know it was like lime juice and sour mix and stuff, but that was super, super good. So that was probably my favorite drink. I did try other drinks, but I can't really remember what any of them were. And then my favorite food items, I would say, were the vegan walking tacos specifically. I tried both, but I ended up, after trying both, just getting the vegan one every time. And then I actually loved the Rice Krispie treat thing from The Last of Us. What was that called?
Wait, wasn't that like the rations bar?
Yes.
I haven't seen anyone anywhere talk about that. Was it
Oh my
good?
God. The Fedra rations bar? Yes. So I didn't think I was going to like it because I'm not a big fan of like coffee, and it has coffee flavored chocolate on the top. But Adam got it, and I asked if I could try it because he told me it tasted mostly like peanut butter, which is true. But I noticed like there were some times where I could taste like the little bitterness of coffee, but it was like the perfect amount of coffee that even me as like a non-coffee drinker with the peanut butter mixed with it thought it was absolutely delicious. I got it before I drove home one night because I was like, oh, this probably has a little bit of caffeine in it. Like, if I tell myself that, it makes me feel like I'll drive home safer because I live in Tampa Bay area. So it's like sometimes a 2-hour drive from there. Yep. I don't know that it actually had caffeine, but it was delicious. So yeah, highly recommend. I got like one of the cardboard boxes from the bakery at the front, and like just brought it home, and it was so good. So that was probably my favorite dessert for sure. I didn't eat a ton of dessert. I did like the vegan poutine as well. That was good. The campground poutine. Honestly, the corn dog, the cordyceps corn dog was a little much for me. I didn't realize that Korean corn dogs had like that much cheese in it. There's so much cheese, which I know some people like. Yeah, it's aggressive. It was a lot. It was delicious, but I only got it once because I did eat it by myself. I did not finish it, but I ate like through the hot dog basically. And I was like, this is good. It's a lot. But I mean, I thought the food this year was really good. I did try other things, but those were like my favorite things.
Yeah, this year was weird for me with the food because I know last year, I think I said as much on the pod, is that I really didn't care for a lot of the food last year. I'm one of like the 2 people who really did not care for that pepperoni pizza skull. Yeah, no, I didn't like it. And there's other things that I tried. I'm like, this is not doing it for me, fam. The s'mores fries. That's what I tried. I did not like the s'mores fries. No, not the s'mores fries. Not the s'mores fries. The Reuben fries. The Reuben fries.
Oh, I was going to say, I was like, s'mores fry slander stands unite.
I do
hate
not.
them.
I do not slander against the s'mores fries. I had them 1 or 2 times this year. I dug them. But last year I really loved the fried zombie brains. That just became my personality over at Sting Alley. I didn't have that kind of connection with any food this year where I'm like, I have to get that every time. But on the other end of that, I got to sample more. I was more willing to sample more because I wasn't like, I know this works and I'm just going to keep on going here. So I tried the fried till the end chicken, which had a nice kick. It was fine. Got a little dry towards the end, but it was fine. Tried the sour apple fries because a friend of mine got it. Those were also pretty good for what they were. But for me, I think pizza fries are always the big winner. And I just really felt a lot of joy every time I got them this year, whether it was the vegan or the regular. Although shout out s'mores fries, I do enjoy that. The duck galette, shout out Universal for having duck. No one has duck. I thought that was fine, but yeah, there's just a lot of fine things. Like that was fine. Another shout out in the fine category was the chicken and cheese filled empanada. Nothing too special, but it was there. But the things I did really quite enjoy this year were the Last of Us ravioli, which I wasn't thinking I'd want ravioli during this event. I'm like, that seems so random and so hot and so uncomfy, if I'm trying to walk around and enjoy it. But I think it was the addition of garlic bread and the fried mushrooms on top. It had a nice crispiness that was just satisfying the couple of times that I got it. But the surprise for me was the vegan walking taco as well, Kelly, just because I don't want to give it points because I'm like, that's so standard. It almost like no one does it. But it's like I can get that if I go to a marching band competition, which I'm not going to, but I know they've had those. Walking tacos are nothing new. It's not a HHN, like we were thinking outside the box for this, but it was good. I think I got it twice and it was worth it both times. I'm like, okay, fine. You win. If the event lasted longer and I could keep on going in November and December and January, I would just keep on getting the vegan walking taco, I think, because that's a really good safe thing. But yeah, I do give kudos to the food because for me, it was an overall improvement, even though I wasn't passionate about anything this year. I do want my fried zombie brains back, Universal, if you were listening. Fried zombie brains. And I know there are people who are like, bring back the No Chance and Help PB&J, please. Listen to them.
That needs to be brought back.
Yeah.
That needs to be brought back.
Basically, just bring the highlights from 31. Bring the highlights from this year. Bring in some ravioli. Have someone cook a duck somewhere, the weirdos like me will find it, and bring back the walk-in taco. I think that's a winning combo for HHN 33. Never go alone. And then something else, I'm sure it'll be, I don't know. But food overall improvement, but mostly it's fine.
Actually, I haven't heard anyone at all talk about the duck. So
that's
same.
I
didn't even realize there was duck.
Yeah,
Where?
it was by Bumblebee Man's Tacos.
I didn't know about it until I think it was you that told me about it.
Yeah, we were standing outside and I'm like, I'm gonna try that duck someday. And then the next time I'm like, I tried that duck someday.
I really wish I got the Yuri's favorite, like peanut butter cake thing.
Me too.
Just for the jar. I almost, because I couldn't have handled it. I was almost gonna buy it and have one of my friends eat it, but then I never had time. And I wanted the jar, and I'm sad about it. But everyone loved. I feel like this year there were a lot of hits, and I don't think there were any misses that I saw people talk about. The weirdest thing to me was that peanut butter burger at Mel's, but everyone I knew that had it said it was amazing.
Everyone loved it. I should have tried that. I just kept forgetting. I did get the walking taco or pizza fries every single night. So I didn't try a lot else. I did like the ravioli a lot, but that was the only other thing I got outside of those two and a couple of other things.
I think the weirdest one I was hearing about was the Carn Evil Dog, which
there's that. Okay,
there's icon food this year. And
awful.
I mean, I think if I was eating hot dogs actively in my life, then I would get it just for the heck of it. But since I don't normally eat hot dogs, I didn't want to, have my reintroduction be cotton candy mustard,
It makes me gag even thinking about it. I did hear that the sour apple fries were good, but Rachel and Josh, who are both patrons, shout out to Rachel and Josh, they hated them. They did not like them. But all my friends did. I heard that The Hellfire Club sandwich was amazing, and I'm so mad I never tried it.
It was fun.
There was like I just wasn't thinking about eating at Horror Nights. Like there were so many things this year. I was mostly in the houses, like 90% of the event this year. Like and if I did get something to eat, I got a tater. Or I ate on the way in. But like this year, like I need this energy to stay for the next couple of years because everything looked really good, minus the Carnival dog.
I also want to shout out Universal for, similar to the spirit-free slime over at Dead Coconut, or Revenge of the Dead Coconut in 3D, as its proper Christian name is. The expansion of mocktails this year, I think, is a big win.
Yes.
Because sometimes I want to try a weird but peanut butter jelly drink, but I don't want to feel the buzz with it either. So that was a nice thing. I mean, I didn't try every, mocktail, and not every drink had an option where it was non-alcoholic, but I did really appreciate that option was there. Yeah.
No, I thought it was great because, like, obviously, like, with the IPs that were at the event, more kids were going to go. Like, Stranger Things and The Last of Us brought in a lot, like, eager audience. But also, like, there's adults that don't drink or, like, don't want alcohol. And I think Horror Nights is such, like, an alcohol event, if that makes sense. Like, most people are drinking, which is fine. But, like, I feel like, because I started going when I was under 21, and I just wanted to feel included. And I didn't want to just, like, have my freestyle cup. Like, I wanted a fun and cute little drink. And there was nothing. So I really hope that they also keep that energy going forward, because it's nice to have a nice little option. And if you find a drink you like and it comes in a mocktail version, you can have it just for funsies. And I like how they were like basically the same thing. I wish I tried them, but I don't know. I feel like more places and theme parks need mocktail versions of most drinks, if not all, if possible. Like a non-alcoholic Ghoul Juice or Electric Death would slay. And I really need them to do that next year. Yeah. Oh, another drink I tried this year, the Lacto Cooler. I tried the Lacto Cooler that everyone loves.
It's like a sour, right?
Yeah, it's like a sour. They also had it at Hollow Scream. It's like a sour. Let me pull up the description for you. But it tasted like green apples and like it was good. And I don't really like any of that stuff. It is a pardon me mispronouncing these. Berliner Weiss. It's a sour ale. It's green. And it tastes like a refreshing lemony kettle tartness that flows into tongue-tingling candy sweetness. It's very good. I highly recommend. It was like 5% alcohol, so like nothing, but it was very good and it was very fun. Everyone always talks about it.
Did any of y'all try the Crimson Sin?
I had a sip.
How was it? I know everyone that I heard about was like raving over it.
It was good. It was very tart.
It
was very sour. I was sold out. I was sold out a lot of the event.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
See, I never got it, so I wouldn't know. But I know everyone was. But obviously, it was popular.
Out. It was sold out for a while. I saw a lot of people with it, but I heard good things. I liked it. I did like the peanut butter and jelly thing. That was good. Maybe one day they'll reach the heights though of the circus peanut. I am so scared of that.
I never need to drink that.
No, I feel like eating a carnival dog would be better than the circus peanut. How about that shot and chaser? Carnival dog. Oh my god, could you imagine? The circus peanut theme park.
That's vile.
Anymore. He died trying it for our sins.
That's death.
That is like death. Literally like cyanide to your stomach.
Yeah, do it and then go on Rocket.
Oh my god. Are you trying to like end all of our listeners?
Rocket and Transformers back to back. Like do all of that.
I feel like Transformers would be worse than Rocket.
There were two people last time I was on Transformers that said they were about to throw up after they got off of it. And I was like two people from separate groups. And I was like, I don't want to be around you.
I like that ride. I'll go on Transformers every now and then. But like, that's That's a rough one.
Oh, you're not wrong. It's way more intense than its better
It's-
sister, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is so much better.
Yep. But Transformers is a HHN mainstay for me for some reason. I can't explain it. It's just I'm a responsible adult who makes responsible decisions, and then I do that and I question everything. But I have fun. But thank you, Jen Harvey, for sponsoring this segment on food and drink at HHN.
Slay, John Harvey.
Most of us stopped and saw Chucky.
I didn't do it. And I was at Cabana Bay for 2 nights. I never went.
She hates Charles.
I hate Charles.
We can talk about Charles.
Yeah, so basically at Cabana Bay, they had this Chucky's Twisted Playground. It was just a series of photo ops they put in a conference room or something over at Cabana Bay. And you could take pictures, and if you did it from the right angle, it'd look fun, like you were falling off a building, or there are 5,000 Chuckies, or random things, boxes spelled Chucky. And I got some fun shots. What about you, Kelly?
Yeah, my favorite was the giant cage that you can be in with Tiffany right in front of you. That was fun. I also took a lot of selfies with Tiffany. I did also like the room where you looked like you were surrounded by Chuckies because of the mirrors. That was really cool. I had a great time with this. I was like giddy like a child. Like I was just stoked to be there. And there were like sound clips, and there was Chucky dolls galore. It's basically a photo op, but it was the best thing ever for me because I just love Chucky so much. My husband was horrified the whole time. He kept thinking things were like gonna jump out and like kill him. And I was like, no, there's not like any scare actors in here. Like it's just the dolls, and he still hated it. So he was my photographer, and I love him for that. But he was like, okay, can we leave now? After we went through the whole thing, and I was like, I guess you can drag me out of here. So I had a fun time with that. I thought it was great.
I wish I went. I saw the monster stuff in the lobby at, I don't remember which one I was at 2 Universal Hotels during Horror Nights. I don't remember which one it was at. It wasn't Cabana. It was at Dockside. I remember now.
Yeah, I stayed there.
They had a little like cutout. I couldn't tell you what monster was on it. I think it was Bride of Frankenstein. It was just a little cutout, but it was cute. I really wish I went and saw the Chucky stuff though, because it looked fun. I may not like Charles, but he's cute. That puppet in that first room kind of sold me on him a little bit. I don't know. I'm glad you enjoyed it though. The pictures were cute.
Yeah, it was super fun. I don't think we mentioned either that you could go to this staying at any resort. So like I wasn't staying at Cabana Bay. I was staying at actually I was staying at Surfside. But we went over there. I was like, "Hey, listen, we have to go to Cabana Bay. They have 2 things going on over there, and I'm going. Join me or don't join me." And my family was like, "Sure, I guess we like drinking." So only Kevin joined us for Charles, and they stayed downstairs. At the next thing we can talk about, which is Adam knows the name of it.
Revenge, that one, or Little Boo?
Little Boo.
Oh,
the Little Boo's Trick or Seek, which I did.
I was talking about the bar at Cabana Bay.
Oh, I forget.
The Swizzle.
Spooky Swizzle.
Yeah, Spooky Swizzle Lounge.
I saw it. I paid my respects to Lil Boo.
I heard Lil Boo and I was like, oh yes, the Spooky Swizzle Lounge. That's what I was talking about. So I'll just talk about it really quick. Did either of you go to that?
I stopped by.
I saw it when I was I'm sorry. I saw it when I checked in and I went and paid my respects to Lil Boo, but when we came back it was very late and I was very tired. So I didn't peruse.
Yeah. It was fun. We sat there for a little bit. My family sat there while we went up to see Charles, and then we went back down. They actually made me a drink, which was nice because they didn't really have any like spooky mocktails on their list. So I asked the bartenders if they would make me like a spooky mocktail, and they kind of just came up with one because a lot of the drinks they had on there were very like one of those ones where it's liquor specific, like the type of liquor that's in it, like it's hard to replicate it into a good mocktail. But they did make me one, and it looked like a sunset. It was like orange and really cute, so it was great. I loved it, and I don't remember what they called it, but it was just something they like made up like on the spot. So definitely talk to bartenders if you're not someone who drinks, or if there's not something on the menu that you see, because as long as they have a full bar, they should be able to do anything that can be dreamed up. So we had a great time. I took a bunch of selfies with the Carver's Pumpkin signs because I miss Wicked Growth, and I loved that. We saw Lil Boo with his hair, and that was fun.
The hair is a wig.
It's cute. I didn't get to do the Little Boo peek and seek thing, though.
That's the new name. I saw him in all the stores. I'd always point at him and stare at him aggressively, but that's the extent of what I did of that. Adam,
I saw him in MIB.
Yeah, I saw him at MIB.
Saw him at MIB. The hardest Little Boo to find, I don't know if you ever found him here, Bella, but it was at Sahara Traders, the Revenge of the Mummy gift shop. Where
was he?
Right above the arcade. Like that arcade door. There's like a light shining on him to be more obvious. And still, he was so hard to find.
Interesting.
But I love doing these little scavenger hunts. They do it for Earl the Squirrel during holidays. So you'll do Yule and do Earl the Squirrel's hunt. I don't know. But this is my first year doing a Halloween one because I saw the scarecrows for the scarecrow stalk. A couple of years they've done it, but I never did the stalk. But I had a lot of fun with Earl, and I had a lot of fun doing Little Boo. And it's a very easy puzzle to solve. You go around, and so you're supposed to find Little Boo, but also on the sign advertising the trick or seek, there's a special symbol. That symbol corresponds with the letter, and the store you're at also corresponds with a number. And so you want to match them up. You know, on the number, you put the letter from the location that you're at and all that. But every year, the message is very easy, at least between Earl and Lil Boo. So, you know, if you're in it for that, if you want to be challenged and, you know, guessing things, this ain't it. But if you do enjoy walking around the park, having a relaxing time, not necessarily having to rush from ride to ride to ride, and just enjoy detail that merchandising team, the entertainment team put into everything, it's really fun because I got to see more details in all of these stores trying to find Little Boo. I'm looking at every detail, and these are details I don't usually see. Like Sahara Traders is really like decked out, and also at Islands of Adventure store. If you haven't really stuck around in the Expedition store at the front of that park, really worth some time. Not just looking at the merch, but like looking at all the detail they have all around and the way they theme everything. It's a lot of fun, and I love the Little Boo one because he was dressed up in all sorts of ways. I saw Raptor Boo. I saw Little Boo in drag. I saw Little Boo camouflaged to multiple walls. It was a fun time. I did it after Horror Nights, or like the last day of Horror Nights when I wasn't going to Horror Nights, and it was a fun morning to spend with friends who weren't going to Horror Nights. And even though we all knew the puzzle, we had to do it to the bitter end. So very much recommend it if you're able to do it for Christmas. You have about $13 to spend for an ornament. That's the prize. You get an ornament, or in the past it's been like a wind catcher or a dream catcher. Not wind, dream, a dream catcher. It's a really fun activity, and I recommend it. And if you wait until these clearance sales, instead of $13 for this ornament, I paid like $3. So there's that. Yeah, it was fun.
Nice. That's so fun. Yeah, I thought it looked really cool. I didn't end up doing it just because I was busy with other things, but that's so fun.
Revenge time?
I think it is time for the revenge.
There was one other I mean, it is event specific, but it wasn't like in the parks. But we had, what was it? Revenge of the Dead Coconut Club this year. In 3D, and this was the second year we've had Dead Coconut Club during Horror Nights, and this year it was themed like a little movie theater, and like downstairs was like the set and like production studio, and it was so cute. I actually got to go on the last night because I'd always forget about it, but it was so cute. So many really cute photo ops in there. When we went, it was during the like rave music time, so there were just a bunch of people on the dance floor. And it was really fun. I loved all the aliens everywhere. I wanted to take one home. They were so cute. But I really loved upstairs and how they had that like movie thing with all the chairs, and they had a couple of the monsters in there. They always do a really good job up there, and I'm really excited to see what they do for Christmas. Um because I love that they're using that space. It's such a fun thing to do if you don't have a ticket to the event and you still want the spooky vibes or just to like hang out up there. I think I was in there for about 30, maybe 40 minutes, and it's just fun. They have a bunch of fun drinks. You can bring your blinky cup. I didn't get anything, but it was fun just walking around and seeing everything. I wish I went sooner. I just never think about going up there. I'm always like tunnel visioned for the event, but it was really cute. Did you guys get to go?
Yes, I did. It was really fun. I liked the singers that I don't remember the name of. They were very fun. Like, I know that there was like a trio of them and they did songs, and it was a lot of like popular songs that they made like space themed and stuff, which was really cute. So I brought my family in there, and again I was like, yes, it's Halloween, but drinks, come join me, because they are not Horror Nights people. None of them went to Horror Nights except me. So I like brought them upstairs and we got drinks up there. I got my spirit free slime. We checked out all the cool stuff, and then they loved the aliens. We all took many pictures with the aliens. And then we sat and we watched the singers, and it was so fun. And they asked for people to dance at one point, and I made Kevin dance with me, which did not take much convincing. Kevin likes to dance. And we were the only ones dancing, and he was like, well, no one else is out there. And I said, somebody's got to be the first. And then we were the only ones. But it was still really nice and cute, and we got a good video of that. So yeah, it was lovely. We had a great time. We didn't spend a ton of time in there, and unfortunately, I didn't go when they had the Universal Monsters, which somebody in our podcast might be able to talk about the experience of, but I will be jealous of that forever. That is so cool. Adam, thoughts?
Who, me? Yes, yeah. I love Dead Coconut Club because it's horror vibes, and it's a nice little space, and I love seeing how much they deck it out. But I did have the on Halloween night, I went over so I wanted to make sure I hit Nightmare Fuel, but also I didn't want to like get like the edge seat of Nightmare Fuel. So I didn't want to go into a house and all that. So I'm like, I'm gonna go over to Dead Coconut and chillax. And lo and behold, the Frankenstein's monsters were there, or the monsters Frankenstein is what I mean. That's the proper plural way to say it. The bride and the monster himself. And I got to take a picture with them and interact with them. I was wearing my Bride of Frankenstein Lives shirt from HHN 2021. I had a ball, and I've said on this podcast before, I'm usually kind of like, oh, I don't know, during a character interaction, but I was like the horror loving kid that I wasn't growing up, but I am now. So that was just a really wholesome time, and I got to meet him like Halloween made. It's a Halloween miracle. So that was wonderful. But yeah, I love seeing all the sets this year too, the same ones you pointed out. It was really made from love. They had really old Universal horror sci-fi posters in there, even from movies that you don't usually hear about, like Attack of the Mole Men, I think was one of them. And you had your regular ones like Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. Everyone knows that one. But they also had those tubes from The Silent Earth, which I only know because they mentioned it in a horror makeup show like explicitly these days. It's fun to see how much love they have for Universal, or at least that passion they have for Universal and some of these lesser known things. And I love seeing more Universal monsters take over. Universal monsters as the icons of HHN 33, maybe. I'm down. Even if not, I love the pulpy vibes of this, and I loved outside. I don't know if y'all saw this, but you know how they had a truck outside the Dead Coconut Club, and it was like for Monstergram Pictures. And if you recognize it, it's Earl's truck from last year, the Squirrel's truck. But there is a driver inside. You just couldn't see him because he was the Invisible Man. And you could only tell it's him because of his glasses just kind of hanging there, his sunglasses. And I'm like, this is a thing everyone's going to walk past. And yet they did that. And I love them for that.
Oh,
that's
my
so
God.
Cute.
I love
Adam
that.
finding all of the secret details of the coconut clubs.
Roof Gator, Lindsberg.
I did see there was on the back, the theming in there was insane because there's like a wooden panel that was stood up on the dance floor, and on the back it was like people and like cast members had signed it, and there was like a Gurg the llama on there, and like it was really cute. Like they went all out, and I I love that Invisible Man thing. I wish I knew that. I would have gone and looked. I love that.
I should have posted on Twitter. I didn't. I kept it to myself like a really mean person.
How dare you?
So Nightmare Fuel was wow. Okay, so if you haven't been to Nightmare Fuel, you gotta go if they do it next year. I don't know how long they'll be doing it, so you have to experience it. It's always similar to years before, but spicier every single time. It is probably not a show to take children to if you are someone who takes children to horror nights. So just in a very sexual nature. But it's fantastic. It's one of the spiciest shows of any theme park, probably the spiciest show of any in our area, at least. There might be some wild and theme parks out there. It's a really fun time though. There's leather, there's leashes, there's all kinds of things. There's fire,
explosions, sexy people, leather, leashes, chains,
And fire.
people hanging from the sexual people hanging from the ceiling.
fire whips.
I was gonna say bisexuals, but mostly I mean me because I have no idea what anyone's sexuality is in the show. But you best believe there's gonna be bisexuals in the audience because look at all those beautiful people of multiple genders. Let me tell you, gorgeous is lovely.
I love Nightmare Fuel. I don't care what anyone says. I don't like some people just don't like to have fun, and I fear that Nightmare Fuel needs to be an every year thing. I know a lot of people are saying that this might have been the last year. I don't want to hear it because I think this needs to be an every year thing. Like the crowds that they get and like the energy is just insane, and the choreography is always so good. I loved how different the story was this year, like how the dreamer, was like, I'm fighting back, and the dreamer was a girl this year, and not, I guess, spoiler alert because it's done, but the dreamer kills the Nightmare Queen. What? And then we see her dancing at the end with all the nightmare creatures. And I really hope that if they bring it back next year, we get a story of the dreamer being the Nightmare Queen.
Oh,
I think that'd be
love
fun.
that.
I have a lot of
because she's hot.
You're so right. I have so many song suggestions. I loved the music this year. I wish they did another Harry Styles song, but it's fine. Had a lot of Billie Eilish in there. It was a good time. I loved it. I love that show. I love the dancers. The Fuel Girls always eat. They slay. And yeah, it's just a fun time. It's just so good.
It is, and I just watch it for the plot, believe it or not.
For the plot. There's a plot?
Yes, I love how they subverted it from, as you were saying, Bella, like the subversion this year is really cool to see, not just because of how, subverse the overall thematic adult content was, but no, just like we've had 2 years. Like the first year was like a revelation. Really loved that. And there's some rough parts about it just because it was, COVID. I don't think they had the Fuel Girls that year. And then Wildfire is kind of perfecting it, but it did feel very samey to the first year. There's a different tracks, there was a different dreamer, but a lot of the illusions were the same. And so the big addition was like, oh, there's fire, and it's more what it was supposed to be. But this year I had to see it twice. If I could see it more, if I went more often, I probably would have seen it more. But it was really cool. It was really cool. And I keep on thinking about that story of like, you face your nightmares, you become them, and you fight back. And it was just a really cool plot because usually they just give into it. There's a moment in the show where you hear all the other dreamers from the past. I think it's when she gets the book that's like the secret to beating the Nightmare Queen, which showed up in Wildfire. and I believe, and when she picks it up, she hears the first dreamer say his line, and then the second dreamer say his line, and the second dreamer also says, like, it's spreading like a wildfire. So it's a little Easter egg for all you Nightmare Fuel stands out there. And I get chills thinking about that, because then she's like, I'm going to do it for all of us. And she doesn't say that, but that's the feeling there. I'm still thinking about some of the choreography, like during Bad Guy, while she's getting her head chopped off, like all the dancers on the top row are just like going wild, dancing and just like banging their heads back and forth, and their bodies too. And it's just such a fun.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor.
But no, it was great. I don't know how they can further it, because I'm thinking, well, the direction that makes sense is what you were saying, Bella. Like, how does Dreamer 3, now that she's the Nightmare Queen, what happens next? Like, are we going to see that? Is it going to be very different? How does she reform this nightmare realm? Does she just give in? It's a very exciting potential. I want to see chapter 4 and see what they do. But it's also a great ending, because they did flip it one way. So what else can they do to make it different? So I think that it has to be like a completely different show with Nightmare Fuel as like the branding, and have some of the things like, we need Ready or Not, Here I Come. We need to have Welcome to the Black Parade. We need these things. I think the leashes have been there every year, so why get rid of them?
Amen.
But it's just a really exciting show for the plot.
Of course. Yeah, no, it's a fun show. I was not paying that much attention to the plot, but I like it. It's fun. I will say
You're so
I am
real,
one of
Kelly.
those...
You're so
Thank
real.
you. I will say I am one of those people that misses having a comedy show. I love the comedy shows. I loved Bill and Ted. I don't think they would bring Bill and Ted back just because they did a whole farewell and everything, and I don't think it makes sense to. But they could definitely do other comedy shows. Honestly, have Beetlejuice lead a show.
Beetlejuice.
I think that'd be so fun.
Beetlejuice. Or bring back Rocky Horror.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing. Any of that. But as far as Nightmare Fuel, I don't see it lasting for like a long, long time, just because, like you said, Adam, like they've already done so much with it. It can get repetitive unless they were to completely like change up the whole thing, and still make it, sexy, but like have like, okay, we're not going to do Dreamers anymore. Like we've got this other thing. I guess it is called Nightmare Fuel though. So I don't really know what they would do I think they could do at least another year, but I think after that point, it would kind of get really repetitive if it hasn't already. I've loved it every year. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing it more at the event, but I could also see doing something else. And I think if they do something else, they either do another kind of dance style show like that, maybe even with the same, people, because they've been great, and kind of rebrand it, or they go completely left field and do like comedy or like some kind of musical thing or something, which I think would also be cool. And then maybe they could even have a stage throughout the park somewhere where they do a dance show, which is something they've done in the past with a different group that we don't talk about. So definitely, but that kind of thing I think is hard because it does cause like the choke points and everything like that. But if they can find the right space for it, I wouldn't be opposed to something like that. Honestly, do it out on the water. I don't think that would work, but
they also have animal actors that they could utilize. They
yeah.
also, isn't there like Sinbad? There's like another theater
That's
somewhere.
over in Lost Con. If you thought the Walk to Oddfellow
Oh. I
They
don't
do
know
have,
Universal that well.
They do a Blue Man Group though, which is
Yeah,
they
that's
could
by
use
Rip
that.
Ride. Well,
So
Christmas.
the turnover for Grinchmas.
Oh, that's true. They should use animal actors though. I think that would be a great space. And I do think they should have 2 shows, because one of the biggest complaints this year was that there was too many people. Obviously, that's been a complaint for quite a few years, but this helps with that. If there's multiple shows, like a comedy show and a dance style show or some kind of musical, like that helps a lot with crowds. And I think that would get people out of the scare zones, which would make that much smoother.
Yeah. I feel like I didn't feel the choke points as bad this year. Like last year when they lost Schoolish, it felt like there was an apocalypse upon us because it was so bad. This year, for whatever reason, it didn't feel as bad, but maybe it's just me getting used to it, or it actually was fixed. I think having the the Death Eaters and the Megans as being show hordes, and even Oddfellows Collection of Oddities or Collection of Horror, that was pretty much a stage show that played every 10 minutes, but as part of the Scare Zone, and they didn't advertise it like a show, but it was very much you were there for the 10-15 minute monologue and the meet and greet.
I think that, I mean, crowds were definitely an issue because, like, I mean, we saw massive IPs this year. It's a big year. But I think crowds slowed down once they took away frequent fears about halfway through the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when it felt like you were kind of able to breathe a little bit more. It honestly felt like when we did have two shows, when we had the Lagoon show and Nightmare Fuel. Nightmare Fuel. They need to figure out something. Whether it be a new show, more houses, something to help eat up those crowds. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to a dance show / musical show and a comedy show. I think it'd be a breath of fresh air. Like, still make it like scary, I guess, but like make it funny. Something like lighthearted, because the event is like very dark, scary, heavy. Like, it needs something. It also needs something to eat up more crowds.
I mean, they have used animal actors in the past. I don't know why they don't. Maybe they had more elaborate, or they wanted to have more elaborate sets, and animal actors you really can't change because the animals are going to lock them away for 2 months and just like have them retire for a little bit. I don't know what the perfect solution is, and we talked about this last year. And we still don't know. I mean, maybe the idea is like Nightmare Fuel becomes less popular, and so not everyone's in the show, and then you're I don't know. Or maybe Nightmare Fuel gets more popular, and so everyone's just lining up for the show and not for the houses. Or you have your Last of Us, where everyone is just like deep in Backstage Park, and you have Stranger Things, and everyone's deep in the sound stages, and you have those two anchors. I don't know, but I agree with y'all that I would love to see a second show, also because a second show can add more lore, it can add more vibes. I mean, that's what Ghoulish did. It added more vibes. And what was the Carnage Factory? Marathon of Mayhem Carnage Factory. That added a little bit of like, as an icon show without needing to have like your icons doing like a Carnival of Carnage type of thing. And even Carnival of Carnage was outside of Mel's. You know, back in the signature show of the event with the icon was at Mel's, not over at Fear Factor. So who knows? Who knows if they're going to keep Fear Factor? It's all
Here's what we do.
Yeah, are we ever losing Fear Factor? I feel like we've said that for the last 3 years, and then Ms. Girl's still there.
That is true. Here's what we do. Next year we have an usher and director year, and then they host a show, and it's like a through the movies show, and it's a musical.
Scream.
Universal?
They can take Scream, the parody musical that's all over TikTok, and put it
Correct.
there.
Yes. Universal, call us. We have ideas for you.
Call me, baby, if you want to reach me.
Also do Scream next year. Thank you.
Thank you. You'd get so much of my money, Universal. You don't even know.
They would. And mine.
R.I.P.
And Adam's.
Tour. Unmasking the Horror Tour.
I already gave so much money this year. I don't even want to
Express. No, literally. They got a lot of my money with Stranger Things this year, but Scream, I'd just be
also
forking it over.
Mm-hmm.
Also, make sure it's included on Unmasking the Horror Tour.
Oh my God, could you imagine if they ever did Scream and it was the one that wasn't included? I think I would have like an aneurysm. Like what?
I could see it.
I could see it not being included. I totally understand why it wouldn't be included.
Because it's almost always, I was shocked that Stranger Things was allowed this year. That was fantastic. It's almost always an IP, but it makes sense that it was Believer because
it hadn't come out yet.
It hadn't come out yet, so that makes sense. And I was okay with that. I didn't want to see that with the lights on.
Or smell
it. Or smell it.
That smell has to stick around. Like, they're not going to use that half of the sound stage for a while, I'm sure.
They gotta
get those
air
Jumbo
it out.
fans from Horrors of, or not Horrors of Blumhouse, the Blumhouse photo experience, whatever fans they're using there, just send them.
Oh my God, we didn't even talk about that. I went and did that last night.
What'd you think?
Stumbled upon into it. It was so much fun. They had a live Megan in there, and that was awesome.
Oh, you're lucky.
It was awesome. It was so cool. I loved all the photo ops. The black phone one was my favorite. I love the phone. I love the balloons. I really hope they continue to do that. I really wish that they would use that space for stuff. Because, like, they could do a lot over there. It was a nice... I mean, there was, like, no one in there when we went. But I mean, I feel like it was a good crowd eater, and the fans in there were crazy.
Yeah.
It was like hurricane force winds in this tiny little room.
Well, it's
It was
because that
fun.
tiny little room was like a back room for Fat Tuesdays or something like that. It's like, oh, do we have 500 square feet? All right, let's throw something in there. Let's fill her up.
Literally. But I liked it.
Yeah.
I want them to keep doing that. I don't know how they'd keep doing that, but like maybe a fun little photo op, maybe throw a scare actor in there every now and then. Kind of like how they had at Scare Actor Dining. I know last year they had the Michael Myers guy you could take a picture with and the mummy. The Michael Myers guy. Obviously we know who Michael Jennifer Myers is. Anyway, I feel like that could be fun, maybe. But I don't know. It would have to depend.
Yeah. So I think the question I have for y'all when it comes to this year, because it's kind of the question I've been thinking through, is I feel like this year has meant something different to all of us, or maybe the same, but it's meant something to us. I can start. I know, like, when I think about the haunts we've done this year, early this season, I'm like, I think Sir Henry's and HHN are kind of like neck and neck for me because I love both so dearly. And Howl's Scream, both of them are really fun in their own special ways as community haunts. But what I realized is like HHN is just one, it's so much fun. I mean, that's the number one thing. I wouldn't go as often as I do and pay the ticket to go as often as I do if it weren't so fun. Lore alone can only get you so far. It's just, it's great. And when I went, each HHN has kind of been a different stage for me. 2019 was my very first year. HHN 29 was my very first year. It's the beginning of a family tradition. Every year, at least once, I'm going with my mom and my brother, and it's something that we do together as a family. I have a dad. He just doesn't do the horror. He's not really down for that. But it's kind of the tradition for the three of us. That started in 2019. 2020, we didn't have a year, but it was the first time I went alone. Never go alone. I went alone. And I got to try some houses for the first time, and I fell in love with both of them. Bride of Frankenstein Lives, The Goat, and Revenge of the Tooth Fairy, close to Goat. And then 21 I have a great memory of that time. Spent time with my brother, did like 15, 16 house runs or something like that, or it felt like it, which was legendary. And then last year, I got the Frequent Fear, my first Frequent Fear, and it was really great. And I kind of got to see what my flavor of horror was. I did the first half with my brother, and then I did the last half on my own. I met up with my friend Landon a couple of times, fellow patron and friend. I met up with you once, Bella. Kelly, our paths did not cross. The three of us just kind of were like ships in the night. And that was fun, but most of it was just me going alone and enjoying horror for myself and doing bugs an umpteenth amount of times and monsters an umpteenth amount of times. But this year for me, my big takeaway was the community aspect. This is really the first year I felt Horror Nights community because, one, we actually got to hang out multiple times at the event, the three of us, and different combinations of the three of us. And, I got to meet your friends and your friends, Kelly, and your friends, Bella, and that was great. I got to hang out with other friends of mine and my brother and my mother, and also on Twitter get to meet a whole bunch of people. We met Dave Cobb. We met, shout out Dave if you're listening. And that was such a wonderful experience that I'm always going to remember. And, you got to meet Jay, and I got to meet Jay through that and all these other people. And I'm like, these people are so cool. And so when I see them on Twitter, I just think about that day. And that's really what my big takeaway was. I'm like, oh, I'm finding community in this event now. And that's a really special thing. And a lot of people talk about it is like HHN is just unique in the theme park space because of its communal aspect. All of us weirdos who like seeing spines get pulled out and eyes get gouged out and, people lose their souls for whatever reason. But we find deeper meaning in it. And whether that meaning is in the house, in the stories, in the set design, or maybe it's just people, that's worth it. And I know there are deeper things in the storyline, but my big thing was I'm so glad I got to know you guys more through it, and we got to be closer friends because of it. And that we didn't do an episode in all of October. We did a Sir Henry's Hoso episode, but as far as talking about Horror Nights, this is our first time doing it. We got a lot to unpack, and we've unpacked a lot so far. But the reason we did it is because we were seeing each other at the event. We didn't need to come onto a podcast to, catch up. We could do it there and do it in a place that we loved and in the stories that we loved. And I will remember this year for that. And that's why I was sad to end. Because I guess now we got to make reservations at Disney now, and we got to go and see if Bella can get on Velocicoaster now. Oh well,
You know that's not happening.
it might. Stranger
know
things have happened 3 times.
That's not happening this year.
Well, you only have 2
Maybe-
months. 2024.
Maybe by the end of the year next year, we'd have gone on it.
Right on.
Maybe. No
And we
promises.
only have to make Disney reservations until January at least.
Yeah. Well, no, as a pass holder, you don't have to make reservations on the weekdays.
Oh, really?
Oh,
No,
I don't ever go on weekdays. To be
that's
fair.
happened. That's been in place for like months now.
I forget I'm a pass holder.
Okay, but same.
I don't, but
I forget I have a pass at Universal. It's fine. I never go.
I don't forget about either of those. And I don't even live over there. People always ask me why I don't live in Orlando. I'm like, I don't know, the traffic.
Girl,
That's always my answer.
I'm trying to get back up there.
I know. I'm like, I'm either going to drive like an hour from wherever in Orlando surrounding area to get to Disney, or I'm going to drive an hour and a half from Tampa, maybe 2 hours. And it's like, I might as well live close to my family. So
Yeah.
Kevin always says an hour's away, and Orlando is an hour away from Orlando. That's what he always says. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's true.
that's right.
That was really nice, Adam.
I know. That was so nice.
What did HHN mean to y'all?
Very similar to me. I have always had different people that I've shared this event with, but this year felt particularly special. It was the first year that the 3 of us got to go. Dave Cobb, incredible person. That was really, really cool, and getting to share the event with him. And he has done so many horror nights, and he knows so much about Universal, and that was really special. Meeting Bella, a lot of your friends, Adam getting to, I think it was the first time I met your brother. He was great. So that was cool. And just like meeting all these people that I've known on Twitter, but that I've never really met in person, and becoming such close friends with them. Cece, absolutely wonderful friend of the podcast, lovely person. Jay and Sophie also met on Twitter and got to meet in person. Just so many really amazing people that I can't even name every single one of them. Oh, the Haunt Girls, we got to meet them. That was really cool. Actually, we met them at Sir Henry's, but I got to follow along their journey for Horror Nights through Twitter. So the community is definitely a huge part. And then just every year is so different. Like last year I only got to go once. So that was like interesting, but I had so many great memories with my husband and my cousin, and that just made it very memorable for me. Whereas this year I went so many nights. I think one of the most defining things for me was doing Unmasking the Horror Tour. I was really nervous because we talked about doing it together, but the only date that I was able to do it, there was just one spot left, and I just booked it on a whim. And I was like, I don't know how this is going to be going by myself. I don't have anyone to go with me, anyone to talk to, anyone to take my photo. And then I had the best tour guide that I could ever ask for. Sorry, I'm choking, not crying. But I could cry because he was amazing, and I would request him every single time if I could, because he was just so great. I've heard there's a lot of amazing tour guides, but I had tour guide, I don't want to get Dave. It is Dave. His name is David, but he's tour guide Dave. And he was just so funny. I had someone come up to our table at like one of the other tour guides, and he's like, "Oh, you have the funny guy. Like he says all the puns and stuff. Good luck with that," like as a joke. And it was the best thing I could ever ask for. Puns in every single house, multiple. It was so great. But he was also so knowledgeable. He's gone since the first event, and he's done RIP tours. He's done Hollywood tours. He's done Unmasking the Horror 3 and 6 house tours. Every single year. Like he was doing all of them at once here, except for Hollywood, because obviously we're not in Hollywood right now. But yeah, he was just incredible. So that was one of my favorite things. There was actually a point where I was taking selfies with everything, and it was like the goriest possible stuff. And he was like, "You see, this is how I know, like if you ever want to know who the weirdos in the world are, do this tour, and you'll see it's the people who take selfies with these horrible gory things." So that was great. I had another woman, I was taking a selfie with the like cornucopia person from Blood Moon, and she was like, "Your parents must be so proud." And I was like, "Thank you, they are so proud of me." And my parents were like, "Of course, duh." So that was really fun. But honestly, that was, besides the wonderful community of people, Unmasking the Horror was one of the things that I'll never forget, because I had such a great first experience. It was at the very end of the event on the 28th, I think, all by myself. Had the best time, and now it's something that I want to do every year, and hopefully like 6 and 3 house every year. I don't know that I can always make that work, but any year that I can, I will be doing that. And I hope that we all get to do one of them together next year, because it was just the best time and I loved it.
No, I really need to do Unmasking the Horror next year. I'm really sad I didn't get to go and see Stranger Things, but maybe that means next year is going to be extra good and extra crazy, and then I get to do it. But
Scream House next year.
Scream, 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 scream,
Confirmed.
scream. Confirmed.
And specifically the caretaker house called Scream House.
Scream.
Oh, you mean Ghostface. You mean Mr. Ghostface. Sorry.
Mr. Ghosty.
Give
No.
me Billy and Stu, or give me death.
I don't think I can handle seeing them in Horror Nights. I will not lie. I'd fall to the ground. Not out of fear.
I'll be right back.
No, what you guys both said, like, totally, like, it makes me like, because this year was just like so special, and like we both said, like, all of us have said it, and like I know a lot of other people have said it as well, but like something about this year was so different, and like it was just like the best. Like, I can't even really talk about it. It's just like the best. And like I have had a really bad year, and I was just like looking forward to Horror Nights the most, and it definitely did not disappoint this year. Like, we, like the both of you said, we all got to go together this year, which was so awesome, and we got to go with Dave Cobb, which was just like the coolest night ever, and he's the best. And like meeting everyone, and meeting Jay and Dewey and Barry and Sophie, and it was just like, they're the best people, and they're like, meeting them was definitely a highlight of the season for me. And I got to bring my parents to Horror Nights this year, and I got to bring my whole family, and that's something I wanted since I started going. And it was just really special getting to like show them the event that I love so much, and like taking them through Stranger Things, and like all these, like, oh my god, like hearing my dad was so scared to go into his first Horror Nights house, and he came out like screaming that he loved it, and that it wasn't as bad as he thought it was going to be, and they already said they're going to go next year. And it was just like, it was the best. And I don't know, this year, like the houses, just like, it was just like, I can't even like put it into words how incredibly special and amazing this year was. And like, aside from Horror Nights, like getting to do my first media event for Hollow Scream Orlando, and the podcast, even though I wasn't able to go because I was sick, getting to do the media night for Sir Henry's, and we have some fun things coming up. And it was just like a big year of firsts for us, and it made it even more special. And I'm really sad to say goodbye to this year, just because of how incredible it was. But I don't know, I'm just excited for whatever comes next. And it was just like, I want to cry. Like, it was just the best year. It was the best.
I agree. I do want to touch on too what you mentioned about us doing multiple media nights, both for your photography page and for our podcast page. But a couple months ago, like 2 months ago or so, we had like not a ton of followers, and we had very loyal listeners, but not like, a huge amount or anything like that. And we have grown so much. So I just wanted to take a moment. I know we've said this before, but if you're a new listener, thank you so much. I know some of you found us from TikTok, from Instagram Reels. Maybe friends told you about us. Maybe friends sent you a video. Maybe it was the Dr. Facilier video, which was our first one to go viral and the most viral of a video we've had. But we've had a couple that have done really well since then. So I just wanted to say, if you decided to listen to our podcast after seeing something on social media that we posted, thank you. We are so glad you're here. And if you're someone who's been listening from the very beginning, whether that's the very beginning of this podcast with Adam and Jonathan, or if you've been listening since the three of us have joined, or if you've been listening for a few episodes, we are very grateful for you. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for being here. And we couldn't do what we love without you. I mean, I guess we could sit on Zoom and just talk about podcast or not podcasts, theme parks. But and we usually spend at least an hour talking about things before we start talking to you guys. But we couldn't do what we love in a way that makes us so proud and so just excited, and in a way that gets us these really cool events that we get to tell you guys about and tell you what's out there, and yeah, we just love you guys. I just wanted to say that.
No, this year for the podcast has just been crazy. Like seeing the doctor, like literally when I was in Orlando, I was looking at Instagram with my friend, and the Dr. Facilier TikTok popped up on her Instagram, and she's like, "Oh my god, like this is so funny." I was like, "That's from my podcast." So that's just like cool. I don't know. It's just been a really awesome hot season for all of us. And I'm so excited as we're going into Christmas and Grinchmas and Christmas Town and Christmas Celebration. We just got all these fun things. And it's just, I love you guys. My pod squad.
I love y'all too. And like, it's also
really
been cool
nice.
because I know that some people who are listening to this don't know us, and there's not really like a 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon going on. Landon, who I've mentioned before, patron and friend, he was telling me when we went to Horror Nights, he was telling me that a friend of his has like a list of theme park podcasts that he listens to, and we were on there. And I'm like, I don't know him. Bella doesn't know him. Kelly doesn't know him. I don't think Jonathan knows him, so he wouldn't have heard about it from us. Maybe if some of y'all shared it, maybe he found it that way, or maybe I don't know how he found it. But hey, if you're listening and you're friends with Landon and you have that list, really appreciate you listening, because that kind of blew my mind. Even more so than seeing all the people and comment and debate, is Dr. Facilier a queer icon or not, on Instagram and TikTok. It's that people listen to this, but I'm also like blown away, and I'm like, this is just wild to me, how many people are now following our socials because of the work y'all two put into it. It's really wow. I love you guys.
I'm gonna cry.
I love you guys.
I love you guys.
This is nice. Yeah, I just I love talking with y'all, and I love when people listen
I
to
love
us.
talking.
Same. Honestly. No, I love talking with y'all, and I love when people listen to us, and I just think it's neat. And yeah, as much as I love doing the social media stuff too, this podcast is my favorite thing that we do. And so when people listen, that makes me really happy. Also, if you're listening to this, if you ever want to engage with us and chat with us, feel free to do so. I know on Spotify, there's a poll that's always posted with the episodes that you can interact with, especially when it first gets posted. And then we're over on Twitter. Bella runs the Twitter. I run the Instagram and the TikTok and the Facebook. But there's not a lot going on the Facebook. I mostly repost the Instagram stuff. So, but links on the Facebook, you can click on things, unlike Instagram. That's the big difference. So yeah, so we're over there. Feel free to chat with us anytime. We love to hear from you, and make it a two-way conversation sometimes. But thanks for listening no matter what.
Yeah. The homies. And if you're feeling so inclined, join our Patreon. We have plenty of tiers, plenty of options. Adam will go through all the names for you.
Yep. Why is my computer?
Our patrons, our icons, our besties, come join the bestiehood.
Yes, very iconic. Yes, I want to shout out our patrons, Jonathan, Edward, Landon, Kanoki. I've mentioned Landon 3 times, but he's been our longest patron, so I guess it makes sense. Love you guys. Jordan Buster, Greg Harvey, Joshua Gonzalez, and as hit my mic. As we've mentioned before, Jen Harvey, who is our $20 patron and got to request that segment earlier. We love y'all, and thank you for your support and your patronage and your patience when I don't get a bonus episode out on time, because life. And haunts and busyness. Yeah, I need to put a preview of our Patreon episodes, our bonus episodes. So it's a lot of fun. We play games and we just talk more, which is fun.
Lots of talking. There's an episode on there of us You uploaded it, right? Of us at your house?
Oh,
All
yeah.
just in one room? Okay,
That
good.
was our hype list episode.
That is the
Oh, that
greatest
was
episode
fun.
I think we've ever recorded.
Yeah.
And I think you guys should join the Patreon just to listen to that episode because it is the funniest thing in the world.
Yeah, I need to log on there and watch it again when I need to laugh because it is so fun and funny.
Mhm.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, but there's tiers starting at, is there a $1 tier?
Yep. There's $1 if you just want to support us. There's a $2 if you want to support us and get some updates. There's a $5 if you want these bonus episodes and exclusive goodies. And now we have the $20 tier. I could call it the Jen Harvey tier, but I decided to call it the Amazing Adventures tier because you're amazing and you send us on adventures. And that you get all the other things, but you can also sponsor a segment that you request. So it's very cool, very fun, and always honored and humbled, really, when y'all reach out and support us that way.
Yay!
Well, that was our little love fest, which was really, really nice. But we'll close out, and I will tell you that my name is Kelly Hoffman, Killer Kells. You can find me on Instagram at kells.hoff. You can find me on Twitter at Killer Kells. Kells is always spelled with an S. Bella, where can the people find you?
They can find me on Instagram at Flynn Rider's Nose, and then on Twitter at my Twitter, which is Bella Harvey with 2 Y's, and then I'm over on the Theme Park Workshop Twitter, which is at Workshop TP. Come hang out.
Oh, also, yes, you can find us at Theme Park Workshop on Instagram, TikTok, and also Facebook, and YouTube as well, if you're not listening to this on YouTube currently. Adam, where can the people find you?
You can find me at AdamJ_film on Twitter. If for whatever reason I'm locked, it's because I'm getting too many spam bots. Curse you, Elon! But just hit the follow and I'll let you in as long as you're not a bot. Yeah. I think that's my only social that I really use. Yeah. Y'all have so many. Mine's a
Oh, and it is Killer_Kells on Twitter. I think I said that wrong. But anyway, if you're on Twitter looking for me, that is where I am. I post a lot about Halloween Horror Nights and Taylor Swift and other theme park things. So anyway, we love ya, and we'll see you next time.
Bye!